What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again, and welcome to my bracket video. Welcome to my playoff predictions video. This is what all the previews led up to. I've done 8 videos in a row. I'm going on 9. I'm ready to do this. So we have our playoff bracket already set up on my whiteboard. I've already filled out my playoff bracket for the NHL Bracket Challenge, and this is based off that. So I did this beforehand because I knew I was going to be doing this today, so I thought I might as well get that out of the way then. So now I have a little help for me to start this. So we'll start with the first series. We'll go in a line of the preview order. So Colorado and Seattle. Colorado has the experience. They have the star power, as we've gone over in the preview. McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar. Even though they don't have Landeskog, they have a bunch of dangerous guys throughout that lineup. And so Seattle is a new kid on the block, just happy to be here. First playoff appearance. Of course, McCann they have, who scored 40. Beniers is an up-and-coming star. And I'm sure they have a lot of other guys, a lot of consistent scorers, not one guy on that lineup who is dangerous. With Landeskog out and with Hurts, with Makar, Tays, and Byram, I know hurting a little bit, goaltending definitely goes in Colorado's favor with Georgiev. I think Seattle makes it a series. However, I think Colorado wins the series as they are the defending champions, and they are going to be out. And Colorado will take the series in 6 is my prediction, so they will move up to the second round. Moving on next, we have Dallas and Minnesota. This is going to be an interesting series. I think it's going to be a close series. I think Minnesota, even though I think Minnesota is a built for playoff team. However, Dallas, I think, just has the ability to roll 4 lines, and any line out there can hurt you. They got 3 really good scoring lines, I'd say. The 4th line's more of their shutdown line. Minnesota has, of course, the Kaprizov line, and without the Kaprizov line, they are nothing. And I noticed that when I went to the game in Minnesota, but they didn't have Kaprizov in the lineup that night, and they only won 3-1 against Chicago, which is saying something. So because of that, I think Minnesota makes it a series because they are playoff built. However, I think the Dallas Stars are going to take this series in 7 games, and we are going to have a rematch of the 2020 second round series between Colorado and Dallas. Moving on to the Pacific Division. I forgot to put these down. I should have done this. Pretend this already happened. There we go. Stanley Cup playoff right there. Stanley Cup playoff here. I can't believe I forgot to do this. Silly me. Eastern Conference up here. And then Atlantic, Metropolitan. All right, we are all set. So moving on, we have Vegas and Winnipeg. You all know who I said who are going to be winning the series. Winnipeg, while they have the goaltending, you have Vegas coming at you with Eichel and Stone. It's going to be a dangerous combo. And then you have, of course, Riley Smith, Jonathan Marchessault, William Karlsson, another deadly line. They have some depth on that team as well. Got a good defense led by Shea Theodore and Alex Pietrangelo. Depending on their goaltending, it's going to be, I think Winnipeg could shell them in a game or two, which is why I think Winnipeg will force 6 games, but I still think Vegas will be able to overcome Winnipeg and win in 6 games. Vegas won the West. There's a reason for that. They're very under the radar. Both of these teams are under the radar. Winnipeg was tailing off near the end of the season, and Vegas was kind of on a heater, even though no one was really talking about it. They were very consistent throughout the year, and Vegas, I think, takes the series in 6. Moving on to Edmonton VLA, we saw this series last year go 7. Edmonton, of course, was down 3-2, and they ended up winning it in 7. I think Edmonton is going to win in 6 this year. I picked them to win in 5 last year, so hopefully I'm right this time. Edmonton just has star power that I think can't be matched by LA. LA, of course, goes to get Korpisalo, who I think is an equivalent to Stuart Skinner in effect. The defensive side, I think LA has a bit more defensive capabilities than Edmonton. Of course, Edmonton brings in Ekholm, LA brings in Gavrikov. But still, I think LA just has a little bit of an edge, especially now that Doughty will be in the lineup. But Edmonton's offense, powered by McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, Hyman, Kane, those 5 guys alone can power you through a series. So I think Edmonton and Vegas are going to have a showdown in the second round. We have a 6-game series, a 7-game series, 6-game, and 6-game. Fun fact, before we go to the East, I think there's going to be at least 6 games in every series in the round. Of course, that's not going to happen. There will be at least 1-5 or a sweep or something that no one sees coming. But for now, this is how we're going to do it. So now moving on to Boston and Florida. Boston, 65 wins. Boston wins in 6. While Florida has offensive capabilities, Boston outshines them in every way possible. Bergeron, while hurt, still I think this team can do laps around Florida. But I think Florida makes it a series. Florida's a team that will not back down. They will keep fighting. They will not go away. Matthew Tkachuk has that playoff bite in him, and he's coming off a fantastic season of his own. And of course, Pastrnak, who just got 60 goals. It's going to be a very interesting series. I think Boston wins it in 6, however, and they move on to the next round. Toronto and Tampa, the big one. If Toronto doesn't get past Tampa this year, I don't know what happens. If they lose in 7 again, I don't know what happens. However, for Toronto to match their demons, I think Tampa has to have either a 3-2 series lead or the series needs to go 7 either way, and Toronto needs to come back and do it. Toronto needs to avenge themselves, and that's why I think Toronto's going to win in 7. Tampa's tired. They've played a lot of hockey, and I think this year, if Toronto knows what happens if stuff doesn't go as planned. Their GM still isn't locked up in Kyle Dubas. I know if you're looking for a GM, might consider him. Fantastic GM. And I think that none of the blame of any of their playoff losses should go on Kyle Dubas. Kyle Dubas, to me, has been nothing but short of remarkable as a GM, and he's as young as he is. And to me, it's gone all on the players. The players not showing up in big games. Of course, last year they even did show up, and it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So Toronto have in 7, and they get a rematch once again. They haven't played them in a few years, but 2013, 2018, 2019, and now 2023 against Boston. Now, Carolina and the Islanders, a mirror image of basically each other. Carolina, having home ice, I think takes the series in 7. They beat the Islanders. Islanders make it feisty. It's going to be a very boring series, I think. It's going to go a long 7 games, and it's going to be a series that not many people are going to enjoy. But, that's the kind of style those teams play, very defensive. Sorokin in net for the Islanders might be able to get him a game or two. And I think this could really go either way. Carolina Islanders, that would of all the series, that would be the series I'd say could go the other way. For the Islanders, definitely could beat the Hurricanes. Of all the series, that's the one I feel least confident about my prediction because I think Carolina's going to win, but the Islanders could definitely flip it around real quick. Now, moving on to the Devils-Rangers. Realize how I picked the higher seed in every single one so far. The New York Rangers, I have beating the New Jersey Devils in 6, purely based off experience. The Devils are a young team. Not many guys have been to the playoffs on their team. Guys like Heischer and Bratt were around for 2018 when they got kind of slaughtered in the first round by Tampa in 5. Of course, they've brought in guys like Hamilton and Palat and Teemu Meier who've all been to the playoffs, who all have probably some leadership, especially my brain just kind of just kind of died. But the Rangers, I think with acquisitions like Tarasenko and Kane, I think they're bound to go on a deep run, especially after last year. And now they have these pieces added, it's going to be a good series. It's going to be a blood rival series. It's going to be hatred. There's a reason they hate each other. They're right across a bridge from each other. And I think the Rangers end up beating the Devils in 6 games. So we have 6 games, 7 games, 6 games, 6 games, 6 games, 7 games, 7 games, 6 games. 5, 6 games, 3, 7 games. Last year, I think there were 5 or 6 7-game series. I remember because I remember there was Toronto, Tampa, LA, Edmonton, Boston, Carolina, Rangers, Pittsburgh. No, not once again, I'm just not. I can't remember. That was 4 of them. I know there were more. I know there was more than that, but yeah. So I think that's gonna conclude our first round, and we'll move on to the second. So I don't have any games. I have to think about games on the fly now, since this is what I already put down in my bracket. If I'm kind of speeding through this, I've gone over all this in the previews, who I think is going to win, of reasons why, and also this is my 9th video of the day. I'm kind of a bit tired at this point. So Colorado and Dallas, who do I have winning this series? Well, Colorado is hurt. This is known. They don't have Landeskog. And Dallas has two cores going together. You have the Ben Sagan old guard going with the Robertson, Hintz, Heiskanen, Ottinger. And Ottinger versus Georgiev, I feel very confident about choosing Ottinger over Georgiev, which is why I'm picking the upset here. I think Dallas beats Colorado once again, just like they did in 2020, and I think it's going to be in a good 6-7 games. I'll say in 7. So Dallas, bit of an unpopular opinion there. I think if anyone does watch this video, I think there's going to be people that are going to be like, how can you pick the defending Stanley Cup champion to lose over Dallas? I don't understand that mentality, to be honest. I don't understand because they won the Stanley Cup, they're going to go far. No, that's not how it works. You need to prove yourself again. It's a different year. I don't get that whatsoever. It's like Tampa, they went to the finals last year. How could you pick them to beat Toronto? Because it's a new year. Toronto could win this year. They could have won last year, but they didn't. Simple as that. It's just very funny how it's honestly harder to it is harder to do what Toronto did probably than it probably is to win the lottery, losing in Game 7 in 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So anyway, moving on, we have Vegas and Edmonton. Vegas, more of a defensive team compared to Edmonton, that's for sure. Edmonton's high-flying. But I think everyone knows that it's about time McDavid goes on a run, and he went on a run last year, but ended up being swept by Colorado. I think this is a series where we might see McDavid and Draisaitl struggle to get points, but Edmonton, with a full team effort, can show that they can be a defensive team. They can play with Vegas. They go against Eichel and Stone. If Stone's still hurting, then we'll see how he does. But I think this could be a series that Edmonton can win, so I'm picking the underdog again. I'm not even going to say Edmonton's an underdog. They finished 1 point behind Vegas. And I'm going to say Edmonton gets rid of Vegas in... I'm honestly debating between 5 or 6 games. I'm going to say 5 games, because there's got to be a series that has 5 games at some point. And now we move on to the eastern side, where we have Boston and Toronto. Almost said Boston, Carolina. I was like, that ain't right. Boston and Carolina. Boston, once again, going up against Toronto. Boston's goaltending enough is what's making me pick them. I know there's not much reasoning behind that, but Boston's goaltending... I mean, Toronto just beats Vasilevsky in 7. Now they're going against Allmark, and Boston's who's just definitely not as tired of a team as Tampa. Boston has the energy, they've got the motivation, and of course Toronto, getting out of their first round is jubilation enough. And going up against an old foe in Boston, can they best the devil twice? That's the question. And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Boston takes the series in a hard-fought... Oh, this is hard. I don't know what to pick here. I'm going to say 7 games. I'm still going to break the hearts of Toronto fans by doing 7 games. Toronto fans will be happy, but not happy at all once they lose in another 7th game. Carolina and the Rangers. We saw this matchup last year where the home team won every game until Game 7. And last year, Carolina did not win a game on the road the entire playoffs. My screen froze for a second. That scared me. I did not want to do this over. So Carolina, they did not win a game on the road on the entire playoffs, and that was their downfall. The Rangers come into Carolina in that last game, and they win. And I'm going to say it happens again. I think the Rangers win against Carolina, and I think they do it not in 7 games this time, but in 6 games. I think the Rangers now... The Rangers played excellent defense this season. They've got more star power now, and I think the Hurricanes are going to be kind of overwhelmed when you get throwing guys like Zibanejad, Panarin, Kane, Tarasenko, Kreider, Lafreniere, Kakko, Hedl. You got a bunch of players on all these lines who can do damage. Of course, Kakko's not really developed, but Lafreniere's been getting better. But that's going to be my pick for against, once again, the Rangers beating Carolina. So now I've taken 3 of the lower seeds beating the higher seeds, so that's funny enough. Now moving on to back to the West, Dallas and Edmonton. It was never indecision for me between Dallas and Edmonton. Dallas and Edmonton have played very similarly this season, And that's why I think Edmonton could probably get rid of Dallas in, I'm going to say, 5 games. This is Edmonton's time to go to the final. This is McDavid's time. Draisaitl. This group of guys that they have together. The best player in the world has to win at some point. This is the year I think they were doing it. There's a reason I think they won the President's Trophy. Edmonton goes to the final, and after they beating Dallas in 5 games. Now Boston, the Rangers. President's Trophy curse does not exist. The Hawks did it in 2013. They won the cup. Red Wings did it in 2008. They won the cup. Red Wings did it in 2002. They won the cup. Colorado did it in 2001. They won the cup. Dallas did it in 1999. They won the cup. 94. The Rangers did it. You get the idea here, don't you? Of course, there's plenty of years that, because if the President's Trophy won every year, then there'd be no reason to do the playoffs. So it's going to mix it up every once in a while, and it's been a while. But Boston and the Rangers, this Boston team, I think it's got to slow down at some point. And I mean, I think it's going to be a hard series, but I think the Rangers end up beating Boston. I know it sounds like blasphemy right now. I know I've seen a lot of people not take Boston as well. Even though they've had 65 wins, conference finals appearance, Bergeron and Krejci go out, and they go out if Bergeron's playing. I'm debating between 6 and 7. I'm going to say 6. I'm going to say Rangers get rid of Boston in 6. And I don't know, it's kind of a feeling. That series is kind of a feeling. I just feel like the Rangers could do that, and we have an Edmonton Rangers final. We have a Gretzky Cup on our hands. And who do I think is going to win? Pick your poison. Pause now. Who do you think I'm going to choose? Comment down below. Just kidding. Edmonton. Edmonton's going to win the cup in 7 games. It's funny. I can't see the series going 6. I can only see it going 5 or 7. McDavid is a Stanley Cup champion and officially is proclaimed to be the best player in the league, and it's not even close. He already is the best player in the league, and it's not even close, but people still will say Crosby, and even though Crosby is 35, 36 years old. That's my pick for the Stanley Cup this year, the Edmonton Oilers. As you can see the bracket right there, this is exactly how I picked it out in my NHL bracket challenge, and I'm going to be heartbroken to see Kane lose in the final, if this does happen, but that's what I think is going to happen. And of course, who am I going to be rooting for in these playoffs? Well, I'm wearing their shirt. The Vegas Golden Knights, they're my second favorite team. That's who I'm going to be rooting for. I got my Vegas jerseys. I have Florida jerseys. I have what else do I have a jersey of? Is that really it? Do I only really have 2 of the teams in the playoffs jerseys? Yeah, that's what I do. That's funny. So I have. That's really strange. I thought I had. Now I really want to go look at my jerseys to make sure I'm not thinking I'm not that ain't right. But forget about that. I'm gonna be rooting for Vegas. Do I think they're gonna win? No. Again, they've flown under the radar, but I don't think this team's better than the teams that they've had in the past. Edmonton, this team is the best team they've had in a long time. Definitely since probably the 1990 when they won the cup that year. And probably are better than that 1990 team. But I think Edmonton has the offense. I think getting Ekholm at the deadline is going to be huge, as he's going to be a big defensive presence. And Stuart Skinner in net, if he falters, Jack Campbell could be the hero. And I think no matter what way you look at it, this is a great story for the Edmonton. It's a cup for Canada. You're seeing an American picking a Canadian team to win the cup against the biggest American market. So I don't want to hear none of that Canadian bias or American bias or stuff like that. Because for some reason that argument exists that it's rigged so Canada will never win a cup. The NHL ain't rigged. If Bedard goes to Chicago, I might reconsider. But the NHL ain't rigged. But yeah, that's going to be all I have for you guys in this one. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me down below what your predictions are. I would love to see your brackets. I'd love to see your picks. And I know both my dad and my brother did brackets as well. So that's going to be fun to do, a little competition between the house. And although we all have 3 different winners. My dad did take the Rangers and my brother did take the Bruins. He had Bruins and Vegas in the final. My dad had Rangers Oilers, but Rangers winning. Actually, no, he had Rangers Avs and Rangers winning. So, going to be a little friendly rivalry in my household, but that's going to be all I have for you guys today. You've seen my predictions. Tell me down below what yours are, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys I was going to say in the next one, but next one I'm not sure when that'll be. So I'll see you guys in the playoffs tomorrow. Playoffs start, I believe, at 6 my time. Thank you guys once again. Have a good night. Goodbye.